Hey guys, and welcome back to Gaming and Stuff. I'm Sergeant Silver, and today we're going to be doing a quick review of the new game Fortress Fury on iPhone. Right now I'm using it on an iPhone 6, but I've had friends use it on iPhone 5s, iPads, and stuff, and it really doesn't make a difference what size screen you play on. But as you can see, it's made by fellow YouTuber CaptainSparklez. Some of you know him as Jordan Maroon. But we're going to go and just look at this. As you can see, on the left-hand side, we have a couple things. We have crafting, friends, leaderboards, store, a player count, and then we have four buttons technically on the bottom. Three of those images are buttons. You have your news announcements, which I was just on. So check out Jordan's Advanced Strategies on YouTube channel. Just report bugs, and new update is in the works. Next to that, you have achievements, and then you also have settings. Now, originally, my friend had trouble with finding this, but it's actually under here where you change your name on the right side of the screen so that players can find you and friend you. And it just makes it a lot easier than having to search for your friend under player 3974965 or whatever. It's like 8 letters long and it doesn't individualize you. So that's where you would change your name. It's also where you would generate a code for transferring to a different device, such as an iPad, if you want to use it on an iPad and have it switch over between iPhone and iPad. You've got credits, terms, and privacy down there, but I don't think anybody really cares about those. As for achievements, there's a couple of achievements, not too many. There's wins, loot resources, craft items, reach levels, destroy blocks, craft blocks, loot resources, and then there's one win without losing any weapons or special blocks, which I actually got on my first game. I absolutely destroyed this player, and he ended up rage quitting because he had no more units left to attack with other than his archer. Now, store, you can buy crystals, which are used to speed up the process. There's nothing really to them. I don't see why you would be buying them. There's no really reason. Leaderboards, you have all time, this month, this week. And as you can see, Wins, Dionite, and Farmer Steve are in fact at the top, because why not, right? It also has your score down there. I'm a recruit, rank 3. I have a value of 504. That goes up with more wins you get, but I mean, you're not going to be competing with some of these players who are just absolutely on the tops of the scoreboards. Also, I mean, shout out to all the hackers. There's no way you have that score this early. Especially when Dionite is down there and Farmer Steve are down there, and they're some of the early beta testers, if not developers. Then we got rank, Farmer Steve 2nd, Dionite 7. I mean, Kit Fisto's on there. Look at that. He wasn't there earlier. Anyways, we'll go to friends now. As you can see, I actually have Dr. Gizmo and JProd64. You also know Dr. Gizmo as PJ Man, Pursoon, Mr. PJ. He's changed his name now 6 different times or whatnot, so that's who he is. JProd64 is obviously JProd64, and I am Sergeant Silver. But then if we go to crafting, we have a couple things here that I want to show you. One, I have a completed crafting thing on the bottom left. I built brass earlier and it finished its time. As you can see, it takes an hour to produce. It takes 200 copper and 100 lead to produce, and I'm going to go ahead and collect that. So now I can use brass in my buildings. It's a little bit stronger, but it's also more expensive. But let's just go here and let's go to the different tabs. We have weapons, we have ballista, dragons, fire, lightning storm, which I'm actually going to go and I'm going to craft that right now. It's as simple as that. I could use 12 gems to finish it completely, but you know what? It's only 2 hours. I'll let it finish. Over here we have support blocks. We have you start off with a sort of shield barrier block, which I'll show you in my tower, but you can craft slow time and null magic. I don't use these in my towers, and one of the things I'm going to say right here is it doesn't give you a description of what it actually does. It will give you the stats of the thing. Null the enemy's magic. Do you actually have to drag it over their tower? There's really no way of knowing that without trying it, and I feel like that's something that could be added to the game, is a description of what it does. Same with slow time. Does it slow your enemy's time? Does it slow your, how does that work? And there's really no way of knowing, like I said, without trying it, which takes resources. Next up, we have special blocks. These go around your core block, speed up time, speed up the strength of it, the reach of it. They have low durability, so I really don't see why you would build them. It just, maybe it could be helpful, but it takes a lot of resources, and it just, your tower is going to be a little bit weaker. Next, we have our actual building blocks, which, as you can see, there's a fair bit. But they go up, you know, not significantly. They go up by 10 health each time, but they also take more to place, which the side effects could be not as wanted. So we're going to go, and we're going to back out, and we're actually going to take a look at my tower that I have built for you guys. As you can see, my core is on the bottom left with a copper layer around it before I have these protection blocks, these mystic shields as they're called. These you can drag and you can place and you can protect an area of 2x2 blocks. And as you can see, I have 2 catapults, 2 ballista, and a dragon's eye, dragon's fire, whatever it's called. Dragon fire, yeah. And I'm crafting lightning storm. So on top of my copper layer, I actually have a stone layer, and then I have some wood and some bricks. But overall, I feel like this layer, this setup works relatively well. I actually haven't lost a match yet against Dr. Gizmo, JPro64, and the 3 online matches I've played. But we're going to just jump into, as you can see here, you can jump into a competitive auto match, you could play a friend, or you can have a practice. We're just going to jump into a practice just to show you the mechanics, because I don't want to lose while I'm showing you guys, and I want to take my time to actually show you the mechanics of how it works. So as you can see, a practice match, you're just playing against yourself. They don't fire back. It's just, you can just shoot. You know, no worries. You can take your time. And so the ballista is on a 8-second timer. The catapult's on a 6-second timer. And the dragon's fire is on a 10-second timer. As you can see, they have their own animation. They get more powerful. Catapult's the weakest unit, but it has the lowest timer, whereas Dragon's Fire is the strongest unit I have, but is almost twice as long on a cooldown. Your archer will change every minute, get a lot more powerful, shoot a little bit faster, and as you can see, I just destroyed one of my enemy catapults with that last shot. Mystic Shields, you click and drag, and as you can see in the middle, I can line it up properly, but it creates a shield to protect your units, to protect your blocks, whatever you want to see that as. So we're just going to shoot a little bit, try to weaken our enemy's defenses, get back at him. My archer did level up, so we're going to go that way, and let's just keep shooting for a little bit. Just, you know, practice that, because I want to show you what the core does. All right, so now normally on the core, you would heal your own units. It heals. However, I noticed that you can actually drag it to your enemy space, and you can heal their blocks. I don't know why you would ever do this. Why would you make your enemy stronger? But you can. But it heals. It doesn't last very long. Heals a little bit. Won't completely heal a bit more broken blocks, but it does heal it fair enough that, you know, if my ballista on the front took damage, I could quickly shield him and heal him to make sure that I don't lose that unit. Because you don't want to lose your units in the battle. So we've just reached the 2-minute mark, which is halfway to your archer being fully leveled. And as you can see, he starts throwing, you know, explosive barrels that do a bit of damage, but still not your strongest unit. So we're just going to continue whittling away at our defenses of our enemy until he has nothing left. Just going to keep shooting. Just play a little round, have some fun. Because what I want to get to is I want to show you at the 4-minute mark what your archer becomes. He becomes like this giant sort of rock hurling guy, which actually does significant damage. I want to see it. I want to have a battle with my friends some days where we just use that guy, because his cooldown's like 2 seconds, and it just has a massive area of impact, and it does a lot of damage. So if you have no other offenses, just building a purely strong base and then just using the archer, I feel like that could be a rather interesting match. Maybe one I'd have to record for you guys. Down here on the bottom, you can select your different units. You can cycle through them. I've heard that it's for those who have a small screen to help cycle it, but I don't really see how it helps, because it highlights the units, but you still have to click and drag. So I don't know. Like if I were to, can I drag anywhere? No. I actually still have to drag on the unit, which it doesn't help out that much. It lets you know when the cooldown is because there's a visual other than the small exclamation mark, but there's really no significance to clicking and seeing the unit highlighted other than showing you what units are ready to be used. So we're reaching up on the 4-minute mark, so let's try to whittle down our enemy a little bit more, try to get to his core, and we're just going to keep firing because we happen to know where my core is because it's the same as my base. We're going to keep firing, try to dig through, and these stone layers are rather strong, but the copper is even stronger, so it's going to take quite a bit to get through those layers. And as you can see, that is our final form of our archer. If we use him, we can throw some large rocks. They travel at a decent pace, and his cooldown is ridiculously low. So we can literally just use him to bombard while also just using those to sort of assist, to break some blocks. But he does massive amounts of damage and just really digs through bases. There's not really any, I haven't seen any other attack that does as much damage as he does. I'm currently building the lightning, but we'll see. Fortunately, I can't show you that, guys, in this episode because I was waiting to craft it in this episode to show you. So my core is exposed, and we just destroyed my own base without losing anything. You know how it is. Unfortunately, here's a little downside to this. Every match you play, it doesn't actually end. Like if you play against your friend, if you play in a practice, you win, you'll destroy their base, they can't hurt you anymore. But the timer keeps going. There's really I haven't really seen an end screen except for on the competitive multiplayer matches, but I'd like to see an end screen even in this practice because there's not really, I can't do anything other than just practicing my aim, shooting these guys off. But while I'm here, I'm going to take advantage of showing you can hurt yourself. You can, destroy your own base and stuff like that. So, this would be an opportunity to, help heal your own blocks, make sure your units don't get destroyed. Because if your tower gets destroyed and you lose, you regain, I've heard some of the resources, but you still don't want to lose because your base is destroyed. You're going to have to replace those resources. If I lost some of my copper, I have like 3 extra that I could place if I lose 3, but I'd have to craft more eventually if I lost more than 3. So you're going to want to win. You're going to want to get those resources to keep crafting new materials because you're eventually going to run out of those materials. But we're going to just jump back to this screen and just finish up with here. There's really not much else to show you other than the core of these blocks I already showed you. You have a 350 point limit on your base, and each of these things cost a point up in the top right. So catapult costs 15 to place. You can place unlimited, you can place 3 on your map, your castle, but you have unlimited crafted, which means if you lose one, don't worry, you can just place it back. Ballista, you're going to have to create more. I'm using 2. If any of those get destroyed, I have to create more. And Dragon's Fire, I'm using 1. I can place 1 more on, and I have 1 more crafted. Lightning Storm, I'm crafting 2, and I can place 2. So that's how that works. And each of these blocks, they go up by, wood goes from 1 to 3 for brick, and then 3 to 4, and then 4 to 5, and then 5 to 6, 6 to 7, and then 7 to 8, 8 to 9. So it goes up by 1 extra to place, and the defense of it does go up by 10, but it adds up in the end. If you were trying to replace those 3 wood blocks, that's 3 points, but I'd have to, if I tried to have 3 iron there, that's 27, which is a 26 point difference, which I could use on, an extra ballista. And that might be much more handy than having 3 extra iron on my base. Sure, I could put them in front of my core, but it's 3 iron or an extra ballista. You could do a lot more damage, but it comes to your decision what you want to do. Anyways, one last feature is the save load. My one buddy, JProd, actually had trouble with this. It wouldn't save his towers right away. He didn't know how to get it to save. And this autosave, I don't like that. If you save a tower here and then you go to edit this tower, it actually deletes your autosave. I had an earlier tower that I have a screenshot of so I can replace. But this is the tower I wanted to show you guys. And my other tower that I use in multiplayer matches, which is actually, it's slightly different, a little bit more copper in it. It doesn't save because it gets written over by, tower 1 whenever I edit it, which is a problem because you only get basically one save. You have two, but you can only ever have one without risking losing the clicking, or you can click save. But that's my tower. I mean, other than that, I don't really see anything. Other than to finish up, you can erase stuff and then you can replace it. But I just want to finish up with competitive multiplayer matches. I've played 3 and they go really well. The connection's strong, they're fun. But when you start playing friends, that's where some issues start to arise. I was playing PJ Man, sorry, Dr. Gizmo, and it took us like 10 minutes to actually start a game with each other because it doesn't recognize your connection, I guess. You're stuck at a screen where it says waiting for player to join. I don't think he's on right now, so we can't show you. But it's really touch and go. Sometimes you'll click play a match with a friend. You'll go down here and be like play friend, and it'll start right away. But other times, you could be stuck for 10 minutes trying to get it to load, and you're gonna have to then cancel it and try again, and it might not work. But yeah, other than that, there's a couple just placement issues. Setting is hard to find. It looks like it's part of the image in the background instead of actually being a tab. Wasn't too difficult for me, but I know Dr. Gizmo had a lot of trouble finding it without, just it's the gear at the bottom of the drop-down menu. He didn't know where to change his name, it's really out of the way when you think about it. It's all the way over here, a little screen that you then have to click update, and it would be much easier just to ask you, what would you like your name to be before you take the tutorial? Everyone would be able to customize their name without having to go through this process of having player with 8 numbers after and then going to this screen to change it, and it just becomes much more of a hassle. Another thing I would change would be connectivity to friends. There's just a little, it's just not totally free. Oh, there's Person right now. But it could use some work. I also feel like crafting, once you have a tower, they sort of force crafting by getting rid of resources should the block break, but other than that, there's really no purpose to crafting other than, I have resources on the top, I can use stuff to make it, but I have my tower. If my tower is good enough, I should win. And crafting just feels like an added thing to sort of make a reason to have gems to pull in money, to have buyers spend money, but it feels forced. It doesn't feel like it actually has a purpose. Other than that, though, the game animations work really well. The artboard in the back is really well, and I haven't seen any bugs per se, other than a couple of hackers on the leaderboards. But it's a solid game, and I'd give it a good 4.5 out of 5. That concludes my review of Fortress Fury, the app by YouTuber CaptainSparklez. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. Click that like button. You can follow me on Twitter, on Twitch. I don't really do those things yet, but I'm starting to work on it. And I'll see you next time on Gaming and Stuff.